Before this time, grateful to be gathered here in the Box Elder County Historic Courthouse and be able to have this commission meeting and take care of the business of the people of Box Elder County. We're grateful for the blessings that thou hast blessed us with, for the abundant moisture and the wonderful people who reside here in Box Elder County. And we ask you, Father, to please guide and direct us that we can do those things which thou would have us do, that we can continue to take care of the business of the people. We ask you to please bless those who are in special need of thy blessings at this time, that thou can help them in their causes and needs, and that thou will bless and watch over those who protect our country, those who serve us in the military and in the very many responder fashions that they do. And we ask these favors and blessings and ask thy Spirit to be with us this day and always. Say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Start off with our approval of our minutes from our April 3rd meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from April 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Summers, second from Commissioner Bingham to approve the minutes from April 3rd, 2024. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. We'll go to administrative review, reports, future agenda items. Anything? Commissioner Bingham? Nothing for that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I just got a report that we had ribbon cutting for TrueCore, for Nucor here in Brigham City. That was amazing. I think it's the 10th division of Nucor that's in Box Elder County, and they had pulled out all the stops and had most of their people come from Charlotte and had the private jet fly in, and it was an amazing facility, and it's gonna be a great addition to the Nucor family and to Box Elder County, so congratulations
Did
to
they
them.
get their national anthem from Jan?
I don't know, but it was a really good one.
But I don't know if they found,
It was amazing.
did they
so-
call to get you, to find somebody from the fair? They were looking for a national anthem, so that's why I was curious, so.
And Representative Peterson did a great job in speaking and talking about, I think one of his best friends is their new facilities guy. So Tyler took us on a tour that used to be at TrueCore, and so what a great addition to the community.
Great. Okay, any former agenda items? Seeing none? I know emergency management issues, I talked to Mark, I don't think we have anything going there. ARPA, LATCF, Shirlene, you want to come up and give us a quick report?
Thank you. I'm gonna just hand them out.
Thank you.
Okay, this report is just as of the end of the year. There has been some spending on the ongoing projects that still have remaining funding. Since the first of the year, I haven't had a chance to update it, but you can see we're fully obligated with everything, so I just wanted to give you an update of kind of where we are, so.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see. And we're getting reports back from all these folks that are in progress, right?
Yes, we do that quarterly, and we have to report by the end of April, so I'm waiting for the subrecipients to
Okay.
report back still, so,
Great.
all right?
Any questions, Commissioners?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Shirley.
All right, that brings us to our Box Elder County employee recognition. And this was actually submitted by several different folks from one particular office, but it could come from a lot of folks here in the county. I'm going to start off with the first letter I got from our recorder, Chad Montgomery. He started off with, he said that he had texted me an update about their situation in their office on Friday, and he recommended that Randy, Tyson, and Kirk from our Buildings and Grounds be nominated for Employee of the Month for all their help and willingness to drop what they were doing to ensure everyone was okay. I asked some of my office staff what they would say to nominate these three guys, and here's what they said. So I want to give you what all of them said so that these three can hear what the folks in the recorder's office said. So then we had Jessica from down there. She said, I would also like to nominate Randy, Tyson, and Kirk for not only being great, hilarious guys to work with, but also because true detectives. They worked hard to solve our smelly mystery. Randy, for those who don't know, we thought we had a gas leak here in the building, and it was a different kind of gas. It was not natural gas, but it was a sewer valve it or something had come open, and our building and ground guys were able to find it and solve that problem. Anyway, Jessica went on and said Randy and Tyson especially jumped right into discovering what was causing the strange smell in our office and resolved it. Randy and Kirk came in on their day off, and Tyson hustled from Tremont to ensure that it was not gas and figure out what it was. From Oakley, she said, I wanted to nominate Randy Peterson, Tyson Green, Kirk Ward for the Employee of the Month. They were on top of it when we were smelling a weird smell in our office on 3/22. Randy and Kirk had the day off. Tyson was out at the fairgrounds, but they all three made sure that they got here to resolve our problem. They didn't give up on finding where the smell was coming from and making sure we were safe. I know our office sure appreciated that. And then the last one from Faye Jensen, she put in, there was a certain unidentifiable smell in our office Friday morning that we tried a couple of hours to air out. And after getting verified by other office staff of the offensiveness of the odor, we wondered if it could be natural gas smell. We called the Buildings and Grounds office to see if someone there could identify it correctly and were evacuated for safety reasons. The Brigham City Fire Department came by and tested the air for gas leak. Randy Peterson, Tyson Green promptly showed up to assist the Brigham City Fire Department crew in identifying the questionable smell with Kirk Ward close behind. Randy and Tyson stayed on the trail and capped the offending open pipe, which was burping the organic fumes, while Kirk put us at ease by entertaining us with organic wit. Always a good thing. Randy even followed up on Monday morning to make sure that all the issues had been fixed. And Tyson came from a tile job out of the fairgrounds, and Randy and Kirk came in on their days off. So I would like to see Randy Peterson, Tyson Green, and Kirk Ward be recognized for going above and beyond in their usual way to see to the safety and well-being of their fellow employees. And then on top of all that, we also know, for those who don't know, that was one incident on Friday. Things come in three apparently in that office, because prior to that, we had a bathroom here in the building that started leaking. They all got called in to help clean up with that mess. And then, I can't remember exactly when, but we had a lightning strike here in the building, and they had to come and make sure that the building wasn't on fire and that we didn't have any other problems. And so it turned out technology had to deal with most of the issues, but I understand they had a little fun with our risk manager, taking him up to see where the roof was charred up there from a previous incident, not this particular lightning strike. So with that, we'd like to ask Kirk Ward, Tyson Green, and Randy Peterson to come up front and recognize them as our Employee of the Month this month.
Come on down. You're the next contestant on. Shitty situation.
You can't just win.
I gotta do, oh.
Tall guys in the back. Tall to short. Short guys on the end.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Hopefully you're 3 and done.
Right.
We won't have to have you called in. And that is actually probably the funniest Employee of the Month recommendation I've had since we started the Employee of the Month. It was not only well-meant and well-deserved, but it was really entertaining to get it and read all the different responses there. So we appreciate all the hard work you guys do, and especially, like I said, I think pointing out the fact that we have great employees who will drop everything, come in on their days off, and it's to the well-being of all the other employees that they're willing to do that job. So thank you, and we'll get with you to make sure that it's not just a certificate you get. There's some other things we'll take care of you with. So, all right, we're going to go on to item number 8, public interest presentation, the use of the courthouse. Jody, we're going to have a flower sale.
We are. We did this last
I
year.
gotta have you say your name.
I'm Jody Peterson with Spade and Hope Garden Club that was established in 1964, and we still have some of the original members, which we love our ladies. We're just a community club that does a plant sale. We used to do it over at the city square, and then we moved to DL Evans Bank when we got kicked out. But last year we moved it to the courthouse, which worked better because we're still on Main Street, and there was room for parking to load and unload plants. And so we're asking again to use it from 7 a.m. to 11 on May 11th.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, I'd make a motion that we let the Spade and Hope Garden Club use the courthouse on May 11th, 2024 from
7 a.m. to 11.
7 to 11.
So that's the courthouse parking lot. not the
Yep.
courthouse, right?
Parking lot.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Summers, a second from Commissioner Bingham, to allow the Spade and Hope Garden Club to use the courthouse parking lot on May 11th from 7 to 11. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Jody.
thanks. So we'll send everybody from the Golden Spike back to buy flowers. Or have them buy flowers before they go to the Golden Spike, one of the two. All right, so next we have Clerk's Office. Marla, Willard Cemetery Service District, Resolution 2402.
All right, on this one, Willard Cemetery has passed in their board meeting to increase the size of their board from 3 members to 5. And so this resolution makes that change so that they have a 5-member board, and it also appoints Marcia Christopherson and Rue Wiley as the new board members.
Okay, any discussion, Commissioners? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve Willard Cemetery Service District Resolution number 2402, increasing the size of the board and including the 2 folks they wanted to appoint.
I meant to mention that the resolution number is actually incorrect. It's actually 2403.
2403? Okay.
Oh, 2404.
Oh, man.
Can I rephrase?
Sure.
You betcha.
2404, excuse me.
Okay, we have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. So we have a motion from Commissioner Bingham, a second from Commissioner Summers to approve the Willard Cemetery Service District Resolution 2404, increasing the size of the board and adding 2 new board members. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes. All right. And resolution, so which is this right?
This is 2403.
Okay, Resolution 2403, reappointing members to special service districts in Box Elder County. Marla.
So every couple of years, we start doing our diligent calling to all the folks and begging them and pleading with them to continue on serving on our special service district boards. And so we have finally been able to get a resolution put together for those terms who's expired last December. So this resolution appoints, or reappoints, those that are willing to continue to serve.
And who are they?
So there's a whole list of them. Would you like me to read them off?
I just wondered.
I can certainly read them off if
Okay,
you'd
if
like.
you wouldn't mind.
We have Brian Hardy and Dale Barnett and Mike Rudd are reappointed to the Box Elder Special Service District. This is the Mineral Lease District. Lyle Nesson and Bradley Hawks are reappointed to the Box Elder Special Service District, which is Howell. Blake Larson is reappointed for Box Elder County Service District Number 2, which is Park Valley. Joseph Stewart and Joel Murray are reappointed to the Box Elder County and Willard City Flood Control and Drainage District. Ike Thomas is reappointed to the Grouse Creek Special Service District. Bud Munns is hereby reappointed to Hansel Valley Watershed District. Brent McFarland and Josie Hinkle are reappointed to the Riverside Community Special Service District. Dale Barnett is reappointed to the South Willard Bay Municipal Special Service District. Ben Ferry is reappointed to the Corinne Cemetery District. Linda Garn is reappointed to the Fielding Cemetery District. Clint Munns is reappointed to the Garland Cemetery District. Susan Wyrick is reappointed to Grouse Creek Cemetery. Sean Hillis is reappointed to the Penrose Cemetery District. Kelly Lucas and Dusty Allen are reappointed to the Portage Cemetery District. Tricia Brown and Susan Burnett are reappointed to the Riverside Cemetery District. Roger Lee is reappointed to the Willard Cemetery District. Van Bingham and Dan Norman are reappointed to the Corinne Drainage District. Rondell Anderson and Barry Roderick are reappointed to Plymouth Drainage District. Tom Munns and Michael Dale Allen are reappointed to the Tremont and Garland Drainage District. Michael Rudd is reappointed to Belmont Drainage District. Travis Nelson and Gina Marble are reappointed to the Elwood Drainage District. Shanna Thomas and Lynette Anderson are reappointed to the Grouse Creek Solid Waste Special Service District. These folks really are amazing because they don't get any kind of compensation. They dedicate a lot of time. And so I would like to publicly thank them for their service.
I think it's very appropriate you read all their names because, yes, as you were listing those names and some of the things they've done, over this last year, it's amazing the service that some of those folks from Box Elder County have stepped up and really put in to make our county a better
Well,
place.
if you
So,
notice, there was multiple names, multiple people had multiple,
assignments,
I
yeah,
mean, that's, yeah.
impressive. Okay,
So I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 24-03.
Yep.
Reappointing members to special service districts in Box Elder County.
Second.
okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Bingham, a second from Commissioner Summers, to pass Resolution 2403, reappointing members of special service districts in Box Elder County. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes. All right, we're going to do our commissioners' reports here on the economic benefits of the Bear River system. So Nathan, you want to come up and introduce yourself? I did get to see this at the Great Salt Lake Advisory, and I think Commissioner Bingham's seen it, but if you could share with us kind of,
Yeah, so Nathan Dowgs, I'm the manager of Cache Water District over in Logan. And a little over a year ago, I came here requesting some funding to help with this study. And so this study was really to give the Bear River watershed at least some data to work with the state as they look for solutions for the Great Salt Lake, because all we were hearing was the $1.5 billion that's generated from the Great Salt Lake. So we wanted something similar for at the Bear River watershed, so at least we had that data. We completed this study in January, sent it around to legislators, and hopefully they look at it and work with us as they draft bills going forward. And they've been pretty good to work with the water districts up here in northern Utah to make sure some of their bills don't affect us too bad. But I'll just give you a quick highlight of it. No surprise, the biggest generator of money in the watershed, 10 counties across Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah, is agriculture. There's almost 630,000 irrigated acres of agriculture throughout the watershed. And that generates just over $500 million in annual revenue. And that's just from direct crop sales. This study doesn't look at what that generates with the co-ops, with the tractor sales, with all those other, inputs that agriculture requires. This is just direct crop sales. And I just ran some numbers to give you an idea of what that means. And so about a third of those acres are in alfalfa. So alfalfa is not the devil that a lot of the public makes it out to be. Only a third of the acres in our watershed are in alfalfa, and much of that stays in the watershed and feeds dairy cattle that we have. So the dairy industry is about $157 million in direct milk sales from the dairy cows in the watershed. But that generates, so the alfalfa, just over 1.3 million ton of alfalfa a year, 450 ton of grass hay, 6 million bushel of wheat, and that's just on the irrigated, so that doesn't count all the dry land wheat that's out there. 6.5 million bushel of corn, 2.5 million bushel of wheat, 2.7 million pounds of potatoes, and of course most of those are in Idaho. We do have a few hundred acres in Cache County, and then 150 million gallons of milk produced in the watershed, as well as 380-something thousand head of cattle that are sold out of those. And so we produce a lot of ag commodity for the Intermountain West. I mean, that doesn't stay in those 10 counties, right? Most of that ag product is exported outside of those 10 counties. So a pretty critical resource for that. And I'll just give you the highlights. I only had a few minutes on here, so I'll go pretty quick. Another big one we have in the watershed is recreation. Most of that is Bear Lake, but there's also the bird refuge here and the bird refuge on the north end of Bear Lake, as well as another almost dozen.
Cutler Dam.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Cutler
folks-
Dam. Yeah, there's almost another dozen little reservoirs
there's-
throughout the
and some marina,
watershed.
yep.
So recreation is huge in that. There's almost $20 million of power generated on the river with Pacificor's different plants they have there. And then in the watershed, based off the river, there's a little over 11,000 jobs that rely on that. And again, those are primarily agricultural jobs and recreation. And those jobs generate another just over $400 million in salary and wages annually on that. And so those are all pretty big. And then we also took a percentage of the Great Salt Lake benefits, because the Bear River is the biggest inflow to the lake. It and direct precipitation are almost equal. But the Bear River on an annual basis is usually between 30 and 40% of the inflow to the Great Salt Lake. So in this study, we took 2021 numbers, so it was 39%. And so between taking 39% of the brine shrimp industry and the mineral industry, that's about $400 million of the lake benefits that are directly attributed to the Bear River. And so it's a pretty key component, and we hope that this study, as we move forward, ideally we'll just get 2 or 3 more wet years, and then it's not going to be the issue that it's been, but it's going to come back, right? We're going to hit drought again, and so the legislature is not going to stop looking for ways to save the lake if it goes in that direction again. And this will give them an idea as they want to look at, I mean, some of their options are looking at leasing agricultural water on those dry years, right? They can look at this, and if you look at the watershed, we divert between 1.3 and 2.6 million acre feet of water a year to irrigate those 630,000 acres. We deplete 62% of that. And so on a low year, we deplete about 850,000 acres of water. If you look at their 30-year report from the Great Salt Lake Strike Team, they're looking for an additional 470,000 acre feet a year to get to the lake. Well, that's just over 50% of agriculture in the basin. And so this study shows them if they want to lease that water, it's going to cost them about $500 million a year to lease that water. So it's not a small number. It's, you know, the dust mitigation is big, but getting water to the lake isn't going to be any cheaper. And so I think this is our first step. We hope to take this, maybe find some more study or money to do a little bigger report and show, you know, what the multiplier effect is of those direct ag products to all the other jobs that creates. Because if you do lease water, not only do you not sell those commodities that year, but you're not buying the fertilizer, you're not buying the seed, you're not getting your tractor repaired. And so it affects multiple layers of income in our communities. And I think, you know, we need to show that if they're going to look for funding, so that's not just pay the farmer. You've got to figure out how you affect these rural economies to protect the Wasatch Front.
So Nathan, did you do any kind of value added idea? Because I know in the county, I know lots of guys who raise crops and sell them to another farmer right here in the county.
Yeah. And so this, we didn't go into that much detail because that's pretty hard to find that information, right? And we took a pretty broad stroke because there's not a lot of information for what, you know, how many bushel of wheat go out of those counties or in. You know, most of the wheat gets exported. There are some wheat facilities that process wheat here. Milk is really hard, right? We know a lot of the milk stays in the basin, but also a ton of it gets exported all over the world as it gets turned into other product at a number of cheese and factories that we have. And so we just took the broad stroke that roughly 70% of the ag commodities get exported outside those 10 county areas. And then, you know, most of that then stays in the Intermountain West, but a lot of that goes worldwide, right? The wheat gets processed. You can't dictate where that goes. And so to track that is pretty hard, and so that's why we just went with that 70%. You know, 380,000 head of beef. Well, that's more than 1 cow per person that lives in that watershed.
Yeah, but
right?
it's nice to know
we're
they're
not all
here if
eating
you
the whole
need to eat,
cow.
right?
You know, lamb. You know, I don't remember the numbers right off on lamb, but there's a lot of lamb produced in the watershed also, and none of us are eating our 20 pounds of lamb a year that we should to support that industry, right? It's 1 or 2 if you look at the average, and so most of that gets exported.
Nathan?
But some of the discussion that isn't happening is that if everything hit the fan, there is enough product in these 3 counties to take care of the people that actually live here.
We're trying to get Department of Ag, work with them to come out with some sort of a story on that, right? We not only have the product, but we have the processing facilities. We can process milk into any milk commodity we need in the counties. We can process all the beef and lamb we need inside those counties, and we have enough flour processing capacity to do the same, especially with the new one that's going in at Pepperidge Farm. They're going to process 25 semi-loads of wheat a day into flour, and that's all going to go to Goldfish, but it could be used. It could be
Goldfish
used
is
for
better than
us.
starving, right?
Yeah,
Goldfish my
so yeah, I
granddaughter's
think,
gonna
and
eat.
I've talked with Commissioner Butters to say we really need to show that story, that, you know, because everybody says the ag is a small part of Utah's economy, And it is if you just look at the direct sale number, but if you look at the multiplier, it's somewhere 14 or 15% of the state economy is based off agriculture. But even with that, we could feed ourselves if we had to, right? We're not gonna have all the fruits and vegetables we rely on, but we could sustain ourselves if it got to that point. And so that
Nathan,
is
I've got a
story
question for
that
you.
Needs to be told.
So how do we protect the 65,000 acre feet that goes to the Bear River Bay? And then my next question would be, if we're losing 25 to 35% evaporation, why aren't we not using some of this money to start putting some of these things in culverts and such to be able to not lose all this in evaporation? Because if it's that big of a problem, you would think that they would start looking at that first instead of trying to take the water away from these commodities that mean a lot
Okay, so what, the 65,000 acre feet,
for the Bear River Bay. It's the winter water storage that comes off the Bear that's been attributed to us for the last 150 years. We've just never actually did it. And Logan has 45,000 acre feet.
so you're talking about the Bear River development water.
Right.
Okay, and so that project is still moving forward.
Well, it's been stopped ever since Governor signed the thing
Well-
about not being able, I understand it's still moving forward
Yeah,
on
so,
paper.
so the governor did sign the resolution that said no new water rights.
Right. Well, and then to stop any development along the Bear.
Yeah, but there's one that's temporary. Right, that's that proclamation's been extended, well, mostly because we told the state engineer she couldn't make that permanent until they do a better groundwater study of Cache County.
Right.
So we just got funding for a 3-year study of that, and at that time, it will all be reassessed. And so that's part of it. That Bear River development is still moving forward unless the legislature takes it off the books, right? Water Resources is still directed, you go forward with Bear River development. So we're still looking at that.
Okay.
And then the 30% evaporation, now is that off the lake or?
It's off of everything going to the lake.
So it's, and that's part of the depletion portion of a water right. You know, so it's either evaporated off the canal or, you know, if you're sprinkler irrigating it out of the air, or it's evaporated through a plant through evapotranspiration.
Right.
And they are looking at that. How do we mitigate some of that? But the cost of piping all the canals just to save the evaporation, it's not that big of a loss, right? Our biggest losses in the canals is seepage, but most of that gets to the lake anyways. I mean, you guys just talked about
Somehow,
5 or 6 drainage districts, right? I mean, you guys have hundreds of miles of drainage pipes that drain that excess water and it still ends up to the lake. And so it's, the extra water they're talking about really has to come from reduced crop production. I mean, those quantities, we can pipe every canal and we could put drip on every field and we couldn't come up with 470,000 acre feet of saved water. It just doesn't exist. The only way you get to bigger quantities is look at seasonal, you know, leasing of water, which is sad. And hopefully we get the wet years and we don't have to go there. But ultimately, you guys have probably seen a few weeks ago the Grow the Flow group. You know, they're kind of a environmental extremist group that's looking at the lake. So they pushed to file a listing for the Wilson's Fowler Oak. If that happens, it's bad for everybody, not just agriculture, everybody. And so we don't want the lake to die because there are a number of birds that would get listed, and then the feds regulate our water like they do, you know, the Klamath Basin for the salmon and stuff, and that's not good for agriculture.
Well, and Compass has been in talks with the state, and they have lots of water rights that they're actually turning back, and nobody's telling that story either, that they could take twice as much water out of the lake as they're doing. They're putting most of it back, plus the stuff that they have the water rights for that they're doing. So, you know, sometimes I think we're just getting in our way, in our own way, and making this, like you said, if we have a couple wet years, maybe it'll push it off the top of the story. But there's lots of other things that lots of other people are doing, I think, before they start taking crops out of our and mouths to feed, that they should be looking at, just like this study shows.
And they are, you know, they've passed in the last 4 years probably 80 water bills, right?
Yeah.
And really, none of those bills have got water to the lake yet. They all have the capacity as we implement them and get stuff done to where it could help, and going forward, all those together will make a difference so that we may not have to fallow ground
Exactly.
on those tough years. Yeah, and the mineral companies are working with the state. They passed HB, I think 453 this year, right? That the state water rights is gonna come up with a plan for them on dry years. Because, and they are working to become better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're also the most junior water right in the system. And in the real dry years, you know, ag was taking a 50+% cut, and they didn't have to take any because they did, I mean, it was their water right, and, you know, they should have. But now they realize they've got to be part of the solution too, and they're willing to work with us on that.
Okay, thanks, Stanton.
Thanks.
Okay?
Appreciate you coming.
Yep, happy
Thank
to
you.
answer any other questions. If you have them, just let me know.
I appreciate that.
Thanks,
Thank you. It's good information to know. It was money well spent. All right, let's go to item B here, forgiveness of tax on parcel 03-1150053. Mark Bradley. If you'll introduce yourself. and
Yes, Mark Bradley representing Brigham City.
then- Okay,
We're here with a cleanup item more than anything. Back in 2012, the Simmons subdivision, they dedicated a 1-foot protection strip along 500 South in Brigham City, just off of 800 West. This area was a protection strip with the Baird Glauser subdivision from 1985. The full road width was improved, but they held that protection strip for those years until Mr. Simmons paid for that when he wanted to subdivide his lot into 2 lots. The title report showed that he had the ownership with it when the plat was recorded, dedicated to the city. We just learned about a month and a half ago that that was not the case, and he and his wife has passed away. His daughter has been getting a notice of the taxes on the delinquent. We got the deed corrected where they dedicated that to the city in a separate deed now to clean it up. There was a recording issue, I guess, between the Bairds and the Simmons. And anyway, the request is, because of the unusual circumstances with that the road really, it was built and improved as a road. It was what we recognize as a dedication back in 2012, that these taxes be forgiven for the function of that road and the purpose and the intent that took place. And so that's why we're here.
Do you know what the amount is?
The amount is $133.42 as of today.
it's not extreme, so. Okay, I can bring it back to Commissioner, but maybe, Sean, is there anything you'd like to come up and add to this? Did it all make sense? Okay, we just want to make sure. Okay, I'll bring it back to Commissioners for any action.
I'll make a motion, we grant the forgiveness of taxes on parcel 03-11-0053.
Hey, I just have one question. Where's the developer in all of this? Obviously, if it was a road and an easement, was it a developer that made that improvement?
Brigham
Or was
City.
it these people that passed
So
away?
the developers back in '85, so Baird Glauser did their little subdivision with 500 South, that stretch. And apparently the Simmons did not want, where they already had access on 800, it was corner lot, so they didn't want to participate at the time. And then in 2012, when they're ready to record, he took care of that payment to the Bairds. And then he was able to subdivide his property and create a new lot, which there is a home on there today, owned by another party. So it's just, yes, yeah.
It just bothers me sometimes how developers do what they do and then they leave town. Anyway, I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Summers and a second from Commissioner Bingham that forgive the taxes on parcel 03-115-0053 for a total of $133.42. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mark.
motion passes.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have on here, there was a little bit of it, we put it on the agenda just in case. The state of Utah had sent a notice out to us that they were gonna close on Juneteenth, which is the 19th of May, and,
19th of June.
or 19th of June, yeah. 19th. They were gonna close on the 19th of June, and we were thinking we may have to adapt our DMV office to match that, but it turns out that the state is continuing to hold the Juneteenth celebration on the 17th of June, which is a Monday, and Box Elder County will continue with that, and we will have one of our commission meetings on Juneteenth. So we may do something to recognize Juneteenth as the day when we have our commission meeting on June 19th. So just for awareness.
So you're still having the meeting on June 19th?
Yes, because we're still, yeah, because we're taking the holiday on Monday, so we'll still have our commission meeting that day, yes. But we'll do something, we may do a kind of a resolution or something recognizing Juneteenth on that day, and maybe have somebody do a presentation that day as well, so. But yeah, the holiday will be, on Monday, the 17th is when county offices will be closed, and there'll be notices going out about that closure for county offices on the 17th of June for that holiday, because we follow the state's plan. So we're going to move one item here. I know we've got several people here for this. We're going to move item 13 up above here, above items 11 for this point. So we're going to move the road department resolution of a gate on the Short Divide Road. So Darren, you want to come up for us? Marcus is back there going, what? Yep. I just know we have some folks here that want to possibly say something to this, so anyway.
All right, thank you for your time. Darren McFarland with the Box Elder County Road Department. Commissioner Bingham and I met with some landowners on the Short Divide. Their property borders the Short Divide Road. On the Short Divide, we have seasonal closures annually, and we don't have dates on it, but Cash does, so we usually just follow Cash's lead on that, open and close. They brought to our attention there's been some issues with mostly big truck traffic, even though we have 3 large road closed signs below and signs say no big trucks, they seem to just go ahead and go up and then get stopped at the gate and end up turning around, I guess, in folks' property and ruining their property. So they've approached us, asked us if we could relocate the gate to a new location. I've got on the map here for you guys. I put old, it should say current, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, it's old. It's an old gate.
it's an
Come
old
on.
gate.
Yeah.
So,
Bring that microphone up to you.
oh,
Sorry.
that's all right.
There you go.
Okay, so they've asked that we move it to the new location down further.
Yeah.
They think it would help remedy the problem.
And everybody's on board. You said you met with all the landowners.
I
I
bel-
see Cleve, and everybody's here to, We're
I
okay.
don't know if every landowner was there. I was told they were.
Okay.
So I didn't research that.
We've been talking about this for 10 years, huh, Cleve?
So,
Decade?
all
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah.
So if you look at this map and you follow up to where it takes that left-hand turn and goes up the canyon there, right on the corner is a field. And so these people, that gate, when you start up that hill, it's steep. And there's no place to turn around.
Right.
So they backed down and they've been turning around in that field. So there's a beaten road right through that wheat field.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we relocate the gate on the Short Divide as per Darren's request.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to relocate the gate on the Short Divide from the Box Elder County side. Commissioner Summers, have a second. Commissioner Bingham, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, one note I didn't bring up. I'm gonna follow up with Annie to make sure with the state laws, how they've changed with seasonal gate closures, that
Oh, yeah.
we don't have to do anything with that.
That just means that we have to make sure that we have that resolution every year to be able to notice the public that it's closed.
Okay,
So it shouldn't make any difference.
okay.
And so what Darren's saying, when we got up there, he asked me, he said, how many signs did you pass getting up here saying this road's closed? Yeah, truck drivers can't read, I guess, I don't know, but there were plenty of big signs that get ignored.
Yeah.
And the problem is they can't turn around. Down here, it's not gonna be much easier, but there is a road. If they have to, they can back down that road and turn around and go
Yeah,
back.
if you put it right there, that makes us, they can turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you know any smart IT people or people that understand Google Maps, if we could take that off their route.
We tried to do that with Procter & Gamble. Good luck.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Multiple times.
Okay.
They still end up in Corinne.
Yeah.
That works. Thank you,
Thank you,
Darren.
guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Darren.
Darren.
All right, we're gonna go back to items 11, community development. Marcus, we'll do a corridor preservation fund amendment, 2024 priority list.
All right, Marcus Wager with the Community Development Department. So this first item is the Box Elder County Local Transportation Corridor Preservation Fund priority list for 2024. It was originally approved by the COG on January 22nd and by you guys on the 21st of February. And more recently, it was approved by the COG on April 8th for an amendment. And that amendment is for Elwood City, or town, for 10,400 north, 5,200 west to 5,950 west. And that would be adding that project on this list.
Right. Okay, any discussion of this, just amended to the 2024 Corridor Preservation Fund
So
list?
I have a question. So this is this construction or is this?
This would be under the construction portion.
Construction.
And this is their, Elwood City just wants to be on the list for possible future, this doesn't guarantee it's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
It just puts them on the
This,
list.
this allows them to
put
turn
it
in
for
an
that funding.
application and
Okay.
go through the process.
I just make a motion, we approve the Corridor Preservation Fund Amendment 2024 priority list to add the Elwood. Does it have anything else, just the Elwood project?
That's it, it just adds Elwood to it.
Okay, to add the Elwood project.
Okay, I have a motion.
I second it.
A motion from Commissioner Summers, a second from Commissioner Bingham to pass the Corridor Preservation Fund amended 2024 priority list. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that takes care of it. Let's go to CPF 24-03, Tremont and Box Elder County Transportation Planning.
Okay, so this one is an application with a project that's already on the list. And this is a cooperation between Tremont and City, Box Elder County, because some of the project would be happening within the city, some would be happening on the outskirts in the unincorporated areas. Originally, this came in a bid at 40,000. And then there's two reasons why they're asking for 60,000. And those two reasons are for changes in the scope of work that the city and county may determine necessary and prudent. And then two, to address any inflationary increases that may have occurred since Horrock Engineering initially prepared the bid, which was done in 2022. So we're already 2 years after that. It definitely, I'm guessing, has gone up.
So the project is?
The project is a transportation master plan.
Oh, okay.
Looking at portions within the city and around.
Okay.
Kind of fits in line with what we just, partially with what we just passed, so yeah. Okay,
I'll make a motion that we approve CPF 24-03, Tremont and Box Elder County Transportation Planning.
Second.
okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Bingham, second from Commissioner Summers to pass CPF 24-03, Tremont and Box Elder County Transportation Plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes, okay, thanks. All right, next, Cody, you want to come up? We've got our discussion on the quote for the restroom and ticket building on the fairground issue that we originally put on hold. So let's talk about where we're at.
Cody Ilum, Box Elder County Building and Grounds Department. So I'm here really to answer any questions that you guys might have. We did go out to bid for the restroom. I don't have the date on here. June 28th, 2023, and we got the numbers for that. And we've just it's been on hold for a little while, wanting to move forward with the project or any other solutions that we might have, what we want to do out there with the restroom and the fairgrounds.
So when you did the bids, if I remember right, you did bids both on like cinder block as well as, then you went back with the new core buildings and got a bid based on what the new core gave us or did give us a discount on some buildings, correct? Or is it?
The original bid did not. We just cinder blocked the whole thing, and then
Okay.
we went back after the bid was given to us. We went back to Nucor, showed them the plans that we had, and then they presented what it would cost for them to do the Nucor steel roof walls instead of cinder block. So.
But it doesn't negate some of the other work that had to be done, correct?
No, what happens is the email I sent out to everybody, the Nucor steel was around. There was multiple options on that Nucor steel, but the lowest part of that was $122,000 to do that. But because of the Nucor, the way that the steel is built, or the way the building is built with steel, we'd have to do the interior finishes, and then we'd have to pay someone to erect the steel portion of it. So it come out to, if we did decide to go with Nucor, it would be $288,000 for this portion of the bid. And then the cinder block construction on the original bid was $177,000. for them just to do this,
Just the material, right?
yeah, well, that would do everything. That would take the place of the new core. So it was just switching the two. Instead of doing steel, we do cinder block, or cinder block, we do steel. And so it would increase that. I did the numbers on it. So instead of 1.4, we would do it as be 1.349. And that would be removing the metal roof, because new core is a part of that. And then I also took out, we had a sign in there we could remove and some other portions. So the project itself would be 1.349
So did that add,
regardless.
so my question is, this has been for almost 3 years that we approved the 770 or 780,000?
Yeah, this bid was from 2023. That's when we went out for this bid. But yeah, we've been
So it was 2
working on
years.
this for quite a while. Yeah. Because at first
So
it
when we
was
first
just,
did the other shells of the other big buildings, we had basically just did the shells to try to make sure we did it in multiple years. And I think that's what me and Commissioner Bingham said the last time, that even if we just had to do the shells and get the bathrooms and then maybe in multiple years do that. But I honestly think if we just extended the bathrooms that are there now, all we're gonna do is be kicking down the path again to making it look like crap compared to everything else. So I'd still like to see to be able to go, eventually, get the shell. If the Lions Club can raise some money and do some things to help them get into that building, but all we need to do is just have a ticket booth in the bathrooms for as of right now to be able to get that shell done, kind of like we did with the other 2 buildings we did up there, where we just kind of in multiple years finished it off instead of having it all. And then my other question is, what part of that was the natural gas that was coming to that?
so
in
that wasn't a
1.4
part, that
million?
1.3, that was something additional. We were going to we needed to get gas. Natural gas would be required for that restroom or for that portion of the restaurant to cook, because we were on propane right now. We'd be doing a lot more stoves. So a portion of that, 100,000, actually comes out of what was granted us a few years ago. We haven't, it's actually still, we've paid that to Dominion Energy, but we haven't actually installed that yet because of all what's taken so long. So it's there, but we can ask for that back if we want to stay with propane. So that's where that is at. So
I'm just trying to get it done at budget like we should have done 3 years ago, whether it's the shell or what's going on. So I'd like to.
so we have 770,000 in ARPA right now.
And it says you've spent
And we spent
133?
and 100 and some of that is to Dominion that we can get back, but
Okay.
the other of that is because we've
We had
changed
to go architecture and, right.
Yeah, we first was just going to be a ticket booth, and then we enlarged it, and then we enlarged it, and then we moved it, and so we've had to pay a little bit to the engineer to design it a few times. So
Yeah. And what would what's the cost? I guess I'm just trying to figure out cost of moving it from where it's currently at for sewer lines, water lines, that kind of thing. I guess.
well, that's just it. It'd be very hard to. We could do a shell, but the infrastructure, which is the majority of this cost, is gonna be the biggest.
But we got to increase the pipelines anyway. If we extend those bathrooms, we have to increase everything to the
Well,
sewer anyway. That's what we said. That's what Tremont told us. If we increase the sewage that's going there, we have to increase all the lines
Right,
anyway.
but it depends on how big you want to go. If we put the original drawings in, we're like tripling that size of that restroom that we have right now. It's probably more than triple. And then the rest, all the other portions of the restaurant, however you want to call it, the Lions Club.
Right.
They put a lot of sewer down that when they're cleaning. So yeah, we had to upgrade that. So it depends on the size that you want to go with. If we go to a lot bigger, then yeah, we're gonna have to do the infrastructure at some point. But that's stands correct.
We had to, I was gonna say, I did have him look at one other thing. I had Cody look at the idea of just extending the current bathrooms, hooking onto that, and then renovating the entire inside. And we have a bid for that at $347,000.
And I think we can actually get that down a little bit too, so.
Okay?
So when you're talking about increasing the size of the line, you're talking from the facility to the main line? of
Yeah, right now it's like a lateral, it's a 4-inch lateral that we had to replace two years ago. We had to
years ago.
rerun. And so The amount that the plans that we have that went out to bid it's massive. It's pretty big. Like 48 water features. So that's sinks, toilets, urinals, and then the sinks in the Lions Club. So it's for their calculation, we'd have to upsize that line and go all the way out to the main road. So that's a part of this, the 1.4.
So if you're remodeling what's there, are you adding any service to that?
We're adding enough, but it's not enough that we need to upsize that line.
So you're expanding the service for the restroom facilities.
If that's what Lee asked me to do, is to double the existing restroom. So
well, if you were to do the other idea that you went out and looked at just to get us a bid on it, do you have any idea how many more restrooms we would end up adding?
we would double what we have there. We would.
So double the current capacity we
Yeah,
have now.
So it'd be like, I think, 15 toilets we would add to that, urinals. So it wouldn't be as big as what's been proposed, but it would, I think Jan would have to run the numbers, but we'd probably still have to do porta potties out there for the fair. So,
Okay. That's something we probably ought to,
Well, and another
out.
biggest thing is the flow. If we take out more room, all we're doing is pinching everything off there. So then we're gonna have to move fences. We're gonna have to move other things too. If we expand that, we're gonna lose some of the vendors right there on the sides.
yeah, we'd lose some vendors, but it'd be behind the fence. We've gone out and walked it out. We wouldn't need to move the fence this time, but we would lose vendors on that side, but.
and if we build the other one, do we lose vendors that way too, or not?
I think so, but we'd tear down the other portions of it and we could add, we could move around. But yeah, that's
Okay.
So the big problem is if we build a structure, a frame or a shell, then when and how are you gonna finish that off? You know, where's the money coming from? Money seems to be the problem.
Well, and that's the thing we did with the last ones, I mean, tourism brings money in every year. We just have to budget it. We could only do so much every year to be able to continue to do that. Our biggest complaint during the fair and during any other events is for the plain fact that there's not enough restrooms. And we have, 10 times the restrooms since we've been here?
yeah, we've done quite and the porta potties over on that side. We added the new restroom over on the other side, which we were trying to mirror what the goal was to do that.
But I'm
So,
talking about the whole complex,
Yes,
of the whole
yeah.
fairgrounds. I mean, it was to the point where it was embarrassing. And we have quadrupled the restroom size on the whole entire complex now, so. Anyway, I'd like to see what we can do with the 770, and even if we had to add enough to make the shell out of the LAPTC, just to finish it off and make sure we take the sign off of it, and the $100,000 for the propane to natural gas, and see what we could do.
And for me, I'm not a go for building another facility that only gets used for 2 weeks out of the year max to sell stuff out of. I don't think we need
Well,
to
but
build
it
a kitchen
doesn't.
for the Lions Club.
We've got plenty of other events out there that actually pack that thing too, like the truck poles, the horse poles, it doesn't, it's just not the 2 weeks out of the year anymore. It's 50 weeks out of the year, and then some of these bigger events are almost as big as what the fairgrounds happen. It's just not as long. So,
So let me ask you this, if we remodel and live within our means right now, what is the future? What does the future look like?
Yeah, we keep expanding. Eventually, if we decide to go this route, we were going to need another ticket booth on the other side with Marla. Marla runs that smaller portion where the carnival where they come from the carnival. That's a small manned ticket booth. Something there. We've talked about that for years. We're going to have to do something there to get them in the shade. But to answer,
So my question is this, and I know I think in strange circles, but if we bite the bullet and we remodel what we have right now, and then we figure out how to budget a new addition like Stan's talking to later, could we butt it up next to each other? Could we figure
well,
out how?
they're on
this
totally
portion,
different parts of the fairgrounds,
we would have to do a ticket booth on the front where they come
500
in.
feet away.
And then we'd have to do another ticket booth. This just fixes
Yeah,
the
that's what
restroom
what the
portion of
original
it.
plan was.
So this building, we propose would get the ticket booth and everything together and make it more secure,
You have to move everything if you're gonna do that, so.
so you'd have to move it again.
So in my little world, I do what I can afford to do. That's my little world.
Yeah.
And I kind of figure that's kind of how we have to run it.
So, I mean, I guess that's a concern I've got is, I don't know if we want to take an action. We need to give some direction because we have this ARPA funds out there. We need to decide what we want to do. Because we do need to, if we're going to do something, we need to we've got to move forward if we're going to use those ARPA funds for this project.
So can you come back and tell us what we can do for 770,000 on the new building?
That would be without, well, if you're going to do that, you got to figure out the gas, and that's going to be, you're only going to have 636,000. Because if you do the new building with what he's telling, is that, when I understand it, if we do the new building, we have to have gas to it, correct?
No, you don't.
If we could do propane, it's not the best scenario, but the propane, we'd have to do a new tank and it's, the whole purpose of that gas line is to plan for the future. We put that gas line in and then anything adds to it. That's why we.
But we were just
talked
talking about living within our means for now.
But no, yeah, that's right. What
I
I'm
did
saying is
propane
if
for
we-
10 years, and it's not that big a deal to change out orifices.
Right, we don't have to do the propane right now, but the reason we went with that is because we were trying to plan for the future, and that's why we decided to,
But
because
Boyd
we're already,
Boyd just said we're gonna live within our means, so.
Yeah,
why-
I know.
Why
Yeah,
are we planning
exactly.
for the future?
no, that's.
No, that's what I say, that's what I do in my business.
So, yeah, I think that's
That's what I'm saying.
So we can have you go back and look and see what the difference in cost is if we just did a shell without any of took out all the kitchen stuff as far as, and let the Lions Club see if they can figure out how to put those things in.
I mean, maybe we rent the Lions Club a food truck until we can figure out whatever else we need to do.
So the issue with the shells, it's very hard construction wise, so I'm just giving you my input as
Yeah.
contractors. Once we do a shell, it's very hard to get it to go back out to bid for someone else to come in to finish someone else's project.
Okay.
So that's also gonna add some cost to that. We absolutely can do a shell, we absolutely can move forward with that, but I just wanna bring that out. It's gonna add a little bit more to it. I can
But if
call
we
and
can
get
live
the
within
money.
our means and get the part of it done and bring those ticket booths and everything together and make it more secure.
Yeah,
then-
so then I can call and get the money back from Dominion Energy, because they're just waiting on us to do the easement over to that portion, so.
Right.
We can just pull that back, so. So that would
Certainly do
still
that.
leave us with 700,000. I don't,
Okay.
what direction do you want me to do with the cinder block?
Because it seemed to me like the cinder block was more expensive after we got that stuff back from Nucor.
No, the cinder block was actually less
Less
money.
expensive,
It's less money.
even with the reduction because of what goes on the inside.
Yeah, the cinder block was 177,000, and then the Nucor with all the changes and reframing the walls was 288,000. And that 288,000 is only an estimate because once we get into that building and framing some stuff, once the cinder block is all done, so
Okay.
That's interior walls and everything.
the
Cinder block,
yeah, that's everything. Yep.
interior walls. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, yeah, if you can prepare that and let us know when that's ready, and then we can bring it back and make a discussion.
So-
Darlene, do we have to spend this money by,
Just have to have it obligated.
Obligated by
This
2024.
year, all spent by the end of 2026.
okay, that's what I thought.
So the next question is, what about this year's fair?
We won't be able to get,
Yeah, we won't be able to.
Either one.
My goal is we make this decision and then we go out to bid as quickly as we can. I mean, you give me an hour, I can go through this proposed bid in 2023 and I can tell you where we're at with that 700,000, what we can do with it. So,
Okay.
and then are we wanting to place this at that furthest point or are we gonna,
Yeah, because I think we want to make sure we incorporate the ticket booths and then make sure the secure part of it. Because eventually, we're going to have to, if we're planning for the future, we're going to have to do something over the track and be able to get things across. I mean, I know Lee's got that taken care of right now with pads and things like that, but the
No,
future.
that's-
if
I
we
just wanna
keep-
make
If
sure-
we keep growing the way we're growing with a 4-day PRCA and everybody else coming in here, we're going to have to do something with.
I just want to make sure what I'm looking at to bring back to you guys money-wise.
yeah.
And I think Jan's in the same direction, that would be the best place, would be to be the north side and put the ticket booth and everything together.
And you'll check with Tremont to find out what they would do sewer-wise, and what the difference in cost.
Yeah, Jones and Associates is Tremont's engineer, so for this size, we're gonna have to do that upgraded. sewer line.
Figure out what that cost us and.
Yeah, and everything on that bid to do this, I can go through this bid proposal and tell you what it could cost up to that 700,000. So
Okay,
All right.
if you can put that together, that'd be great.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
Okay. Got all that. All right, public comment. Again, public comment, no action will be taken at this time. Those wishing to make public comment have signed in on the roll. They have 1 3-minute opportunity to speak regardless of the number of items, and they need to address the comments to the county commission only. And it's a time to be heard. There will be no back and forth with the commissioners, and the speakers may file their remarks with the county clerk, and the county clerk can make that information available to county commissioners if necessary. We have one individual, Deanna Hardy, would like to come and talk.
Okay, Deanna Hardy Brigham. The minutes of March 19th again failed to correct the minutes of January 3rd and February 21st regarding the electronic sign-in pads used at the polling locations during the elections. Again, the electronic pads used at the polling locations, the signatures on these electronic pads are distorted and can be easily manipulated or erased. This is why the Box Elder Committee of Liberty requests that a sign-in book be required for all polling locations for auditing purposes. When you attend the upcoming UAC meetings, you need to encourage all other counties to stop the regionalism that is happening in our state and has been happening for a long period of time. The United Nations goal is to get rid of border lines between counties, cities, and states and put all of us into regions. This is happening with unconstitutional organizations we already have, such as the Bear River Association of Governments, or BRAG, Utah League of Cities and Towns, Wasatch Front Regional Council, etc. The question also needs to be asked if using the taxpayers' money would be to be a member of UAC is beneficial to the citizens of our county. Government needs to be restored back to its limited and proper role. All the socialism and fascism we presently have is going to collapse, because eventually you will run out of other people's money. It is not a matter of if, but when. It would be wise for all county, city, and state government to recognize this and start the process of eliminating all unconstitutional programs and organizations. This will help the citizens to have their money restored back to them. I needed to add on just 2 more things. The courthouse doors, there were some citizens that wanted to come to the last commission meeting, but the courthouse doors were locked. And remember, the pit you dig for everyone else is the same pit that you yourself will fall into. Spending all of this federal money puts the citizens into further enslavement. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes all of our public comment for today. And with that, I take a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion, to go into closed session.
To
To talk about-
To deal with a legal matter, correct?
Yes, litigation.
Second.
Have a motion from Commissioner Summers, second Commissioner motion from Commissioner Bingham, second Commissioner Summers to go into closed session to discuss a legal matter. All in favor?